Okay, good evening, everybody. We have the City Council work session, Monday, May 11th, 2026, 4:30 PM at the Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers, City Hall, 400 Washington Street. Our first discussion item is intellectual freedom and legislative update from lovely Brittany Jacobs.
Thank you.
I
This
hope
will be
it's
a
good
very.
stuff.
What's it?
Is it good stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Sure.
Sure.
I can spin anything. This will be a real brief overview of intellectual freedom and the 91st General Assembly. There is a much more conclusive hour-long session that I've given to the Iowa League of Cities and to a few local groups covering intellectual freedom, particularly as it pertains to America 250. And I'm happy to schedule time to give you that full presentation if you'd like, or submit it in writing, but this will be a very brief overview of that. So this is the year that we celebrate America 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. And the premise of this idea was that we were going to start this experiment on government that was by and for the people, regardless of nobility or your birth family or any kind of royal lineage. So the common person, the common man at the time, could be a lawmaker, and one of the cornerstones to the concept of a government that was by and for the people was that the people who were running for those seats of government to be lawmakers had to be literate, and they had to have a solid understanding of how things worked. And so from fairly early on, America adopted what was a European idea of a library. In Europe at the time, most libraries were private in nature. And we started moving toward a public model. Benjamin Franklin started the first private library in America in the 1700s out in Philadelphia. Our private library started in 1850 something. I can't remember what. They called it the Burlington
1868.
68, thank you. It was the Burlington Public Library, but it was private. You had to pay a subscription fee of $10, and if you wanted to take anything home, you had to pay an additional fee. And at the time, globally speaking, only about 20% of the people on the planet could read. And so this idea of a library becoming public in nature and that anybody can access it was really a shove to get more people literate so that we have more people participating in the system. And next week, I'll give another highlight, but 141 years ago, on May 18th, 1885, the city of Burlington put a vote to the people to move our private library that Crapo and Grimes had started and move it to become a public library that was tax-based. It passed with a fairly wide margin, and this was local government's provision to ensure that the residents of their communities could become literate and have that solid understanding of how things worked. And tightly woven into all of that is this idea of intellectual freedom, and that every citizen has a right to seek and receive information from all points of view without restriction. And this points back to the First Amendment, which was ratified in 1791, and it reads, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." That was 1791. So when we became a free public library in 1885, we were held to that First Amendment. The Iowa Library Association and the American Library Association drafted documents that further ratified those ideas of protecting the ability for people to seek and receive information. And then to kind of tie that over into the General Assembly and the legislative update, this year on May 3rd, they called Sine Die, which is the official and formal closure of session. This was the 91st General Assembly. We run biannual assemblies because in 1969, yes, lawmaking became so complex in Iowa that we needed to stretch it out into a 2-year session. So prior to that, the territory of Iowa General Assembly, it ran from 1838 to 1846, and then 1846 to current day is how we've been running as the state of Iowa. Starting in 1969, we went to that 2-year model. So this May 3rd closed out the second year of that biennial 91st General Assembly, which means next January, we kind of start with a fresh slate. Whereas this January, things from the previous year did carry over. So we'll get a fresh slate. There were nearly 1,000 bills introduced since January to May 3rd when it closed out. And 151 of those made it through the House and the Senate for a final signature on the governor's desk. Now, to narrow it in on the public library, of those nearly 1,000 bills, 9 of them were library-specific, and we saw all of them introduced in that first funnel. So you can see them on the left-hand side there. The Iowa legislature is chunked into 3 funnel states. The first funnel, and bills introduced in that first funnel have to go through a certain amount of progress in order to continue on to the second funnel. So we had 3 bills that made it past that first funnel deadline of February 20th, and then none of those 3 bills made it past the second funnel. So sigh of relief. And while a lot of these were pretty anti-library in nature, it did offer us some incredible opportunities to have conversations about how local governments are run, how libraries are funded, and what laws and regulations libraries are held to as far as the collections and the programs that we offer. On March 24th, past that second funnel deadline, we saw a city Board of Health bill get amended to become a library bill. It was truly a 4-line city Board of Health bill that was amended with a 2-page library-specific amendment that basically included everything from the first 9 bills that were introduced at the beginning of the session. It was then further amended on March 31st to change a little bit of the language that the First Amendment had seen. That bill was technically alive until they called Sine Die, and on May 3rd, I breathed a huge sigh of relief because it didn't pass. But I make mention of this because we will see this come back again in January. There are enough legislators running unopposed who were behind some of these bills, so we will see it again. But like I mentioned, these bills brought up a lot of really great talking points for us to sit down with local people in Burlington and in Des Moines with representatives from across the state about how libraries are run and how we are funded, which leads me into the bill that did get passed that will impact the Burlington Public Library, and that was Senate File 2472. This is a property tax bill that was passed in nearly the 38th hour of the marathon final session. So to get everything completed, because they had gone into overtime, this was supposed to be 100 days of session, and they went over to just about 110 days. The last session ran 38 hours, and one of the things that they did complete was Senate File 2472, which does impact some of the House File 718 impacts that were passed 3 years ago, the first major property tax rehaul. The most significant component of this bill is that it puts a hard 2% cap on the new consolidated general fund levy. Libraries prior to House File 718 had an external mechanism to fund themselves through the library levy, which is a locally voted on option. 718 removed that by means of consolidating it into this new CGFL and this consolidated general fund levy, with a restriction that we get that levy down to $8.10. Now, there are some deadlines that have been extended in this year's property tax bill. So while this was just a week and a few days ago that this passed, so we're still parsing through all of the nuances of the tax bill, it will restrict how cities can fund themselves, and with libraries in particular being dead set now in the center of the general fund, we're probably going to see some of those fiscal impacts coming our way. So while it was a property tax bill, generally speaking, it will become a library bill because we are funded through property taxes to provide services to our community. Now, I'm very happy to have any conversations with you all, with representatives, senators, House reps, community members about any questions that came up with these bills. There were a lot of library conversations this winter, and I'm very happy to sit down and talk through things with people, whether it's how do we hold ourselves up to the First Amendment, to how is Iowa Code holding up and protecting children in spaces like public libraries, to how are we funded and why do libraries have to pay for books? Because there are some people who don't think we have to, or who think we don't have to pay for books. And not only do we pay for books, there's some highway robbery going on with ebooks. We're charged up to 3 times the amount as the public market is for digital materials. So there's a lot of really interesting conversations and important conversations to be had. But getting back to this idea of a government by and for the people, this is America 250 that we're celebrating this year. The library provides that space in town where you can go find information, search and seek without fear of retribution. And it also invites you to be participatory in the system, both on a local level and on a state and on a federal level. And with that in mind, we will start to see some candidate forums happening ahead of the June 2nd primary. They start tonight at the library. There will be one at 5:30 that will include the House reps who are in the primary. So this will be the Democratic candidates tonight at the library at 5:30. Thursday at 5 p.m. at the Senior Center, there will be a candidate forum for all candidates that's hosted by the Chamber, the Government Affairs Committee, of which we have a representative in the audience, Brandon Worth. And then on May 20th at the library, again, there will be another candidate forum for county supervisors. And that will be the Republicans because there are more Republicans running than spots available. So please keep an eye out for ways to participate and get our community members to participate in this process, because we've got 250 years under our belt, and to ensure that we've got another 250, it is predicated on this idea that we all are literate, we have an idea of how things work and how they are run, and we are participating in that system. So if you have any questions about library policy, I know Chad has a little bit more information on city-specific things that passed this year. There were a couple bills that did make it through, some that didn't, that we might see again in January, similar to some of these library things. So if you want to elaborate a bit?
Yeah. Are you done? Or
I'm-
yeah.
Any
Okay.
questions
And-
before I sit down?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions right now?
Nope, but I'll echo your mantra that literacy matters.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brittany. So I don't have an exhaustive report, just a couple of things that I wanted to touch on regarding the property tax reform legislation, which, as Brittany said, we're still kind of going through. And actually, on a couple of things, we're seeing some mixed messages between what we're seeing in the bill, or what you can read in the bill, and some of the strikeouts, and what we're seeing from the League of Cities. So again, it's only been about a week or so, but a couple of things. So the 2% cap is on that combined general fund levy, not employee benefits or insurance or debt service, which thankfully, because some of those things grow even beyond our ability to control. For example, health insurance, which would be in employee benefits, and property insurance, which would be in property insurance segments. So for right now, we have the ability to adjust those levy rates, as we have, to accommodate for those increases. Interestingly, in the property tax reform bill, multifamily property as a class, about 10 years ago, used to be commercial class, and then it transitioned to its own multifamily class. And after about 8 years, that phased out. Multifamily properties then went to full residential class, meaning they were eligible for the full rollback, the full effect of the rollback. Now, in this bill, they're coming back into their own class, and they are seeing a significant increase in valuation directed by the bill, by the legislation, to rollback plus 3% in year 2, I think, and rollback plus 6% increase in year 3. So we're seeing the multifamily class actually start to climb back up. I find that perplexing in a property tax reform bill, because it's taken a class, rental properties, and it's actually increasing the tax rate on those properties. There's some changes to the school SAVE, which is basically the school local option sales tax. The state's funding some of that. The state is removing a backfill portion. That was supposed to phase out by '28, and it's just gone now. So again, a lot of times what happens with these complex bills, the Department of Management will be tasked with the administrative rules and the implementation of that. And so I'm sure this summer and fall, as we get into seeing new budget documents for this next budget season, we'll start to see some of the ways that these are supposed to be implemented. There were some changes to TIF. They're not real egregious for Burlington just because of the way we use it, but I can imagine there are some cities out there that will be hamstrung with some of the changes to TIF. Some of the other bills impacting cities, we talk about housing and affordability, but there is a new requirement for radon mitigation in all new single and two-family residences, that they will be required to have radon mitigation systems. And that's really a balancing act because of cancer rates in Iowa being so high. You need to do something like this, but that will increase the cost of new and two-family structures moving forward. Sidewalk liability did not pass, did not move through, and basically what that says, that comes out of a Supreme Court decision from I think a year or so ago that shifted sidewalk liability from adjoining property owners to cities, and that remains today. So the legislature didn't take that up and clarify previous legislation or public policy in favor of the Supreme Court decision. I don't know that I have anything else that I want to cover unless you have any questions on anything else that you directly heard. Nick has, is that mostly the property tax bill
It's
information up there, though?
property
Yeah,
tax
okay.
piece. So is there a cap on valuation then for the city?
There's a cap on revenue growth at 2% for the combined general fund levies. So
even if
not
we
on valuation,
increase
but
in
on revenue.
valuation, we still can't increase.
Well, the city doesn't control valuation increases, the county assessor does.
Right,
The rollback didn't change. They didn't tweak or mess with the rollback function, so that's still going to be tied. Although, again, we're still trying to understand exactly what's going on here, but the statewide equalization, I think, is no more. So that'll be interesting to see how valuations change from year to year without the statewide equalization, which was capped at 3%. So next year's rollback with total valuation not being capped now will be interesting to see. But regardless of that, city revenue on the combined general fund levies is capped at 2%. So it's capped revenue, regardless of.
do we hit that 2% even?
We did this year, but we also released a lot of TIF. Now, that 2% is not inclusive of new valuation, so if we see new valuation come on, we get to capture that. But typically, we're around that 2%, depending on whether it's a reassessment year or not.
And if you close out a TIF district now, you can't have another one in that district again, or?
No,
is that-
not entirely. You would just establish a new base, a new
Okay.
line.
Gotcha.
Right? And then you have to grow that increment above that. But any TIF districts, so they call them perpetual TIF districts, and basically it's any TIF district that was created prior to 1992, doesn't have a sunset. So they're called perpetual TIF districts. Anything after 1993 has a 20-year sunset,
Okay,
right, automatically, where you can capture that same increment. But after that sunset, then you have to reestablish the TIF district, and it creates a new higher increment line. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
I think so.
Okay. So again, there's a lot there on the property tax stuff. Again, I know we'll see a lot of opinions and admin rules come out over the summer, so we'll just keep you posted as those come around, so.
Yeah, I was asking about the TIF. I don't think it'll necessarily impact Burlington the way it will some of our neighbors, but they
Right.
have whole communities that's like one big entire TIF district.
Yeah, but some of that's gonna depend on whether it's a perpetual or,
Yeah.
a
well,
20-year
I think
TIF.
what I was told is it's getting closed out, and then don't have a chance.
You won't have increment to capture any TIF on. And in
Yeah.
slow-growing, where that matters is in slow-growing communities like Southeast Iowa, right? You have your fast-growing communities like those in the Golden Circle, you can create increment pretty quickly. In a couple, 3 years, you've got increment to be able to capture for projects. Here, if we're growing at 1.5%, it's gonna take us a decade to get any increment to be able to use for projects.
Gotcha.
That's how it
It's
matters.
stifling growth.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't let you capture the growth, so. Okay,
Any other
that's a lot in
questions?
a short period of time, but.
Yeah, no, thank you. Any other? No? Okay.
I'm still reading
Right.
Yeah.
Taylor Collins' last Sendai report.
Yeah, that was lengthy too.
Jeez.
All right, next up we have board and commission reports. Did you have anything?
Yeah, Friday, met at the fire department again with our strategic plan committee. Very enlightening, a lot of energy there. And I got to commend the chief. He's doing a fine job leading that, and I don't think he's overly experienced in it, but you wouldn't know it by the way that the way that it's going. So I'm real happy with that. I'm looking forward to the next meeting. It looks like we're gonna have at least two more after this next one, so three more meetings before we come up with strategic plan. But just that 30-day waiting period gives everybody time to really absorb what we've talked about and to think about, because now we're into each one of the items under the 4 different categories are gonna have an action plan, and so we've got that 30 days to think about that action plan. So it's really coming together good. I think it's gonna pay dividends for the fire department and the crew down there. And then today, we met with the senior center. We had quite a bit of discussion on partnering, potential partnering with DPI and the Arts Center, and providing some space for them. But we also talked about, we're starting to see an increase in revenues. We've got a new board president and vice president and secretary, and they're kind of going a little bit of a different direction from what Alice was going, and we're doing more self-promoting, and so we're starting to see some increases in income. And we talked today about going to the different medias and trying to get them to help us let the public know what we actually do
Right.
at the
Yeah.
senior center. And I've been on the board for a little over a year, but I'm still not 100% certain what they do down there. But it's just the idea of becoming a member and all of that is it's been beneficial and that. And the other thing, the big increase we've had is in pop cans, and they a lot of people have heard that's how we get some of our funding, and it's last week I took 20 bags to the Drop It, and it was $135. So
Wow.
Right.
is what they got out of it. So
That's
if
awesome.
you've got any cans or bottles and you need them taken care of, just give the senior center a call.
Very good.
That's
Thank
about
you.
it.
Awesome, good to hear. Okay, do you have any? No. Okay.
And nothing from BRE right now?
Okay, great. And I have a meeting tomorrow, so I don't have anything else right now. We have a couple appointments. Let me get back to that. For the Civil Service Commission and Low Rent Housing Agency. For the Civil Service Commission, Mary Saxon's term expires, and she's expressed interest in reappointing her to a new 4-year term. For the Low Rent Housing Agency, Samantha Ripple's term expires, and she's also expressed interest in serving. So reappointing her, we'll consider reappointing her to a new 2-year term. And for the same agency, Jerry Johnson's term will expire, and he has requested to be reappointed for another 2-year term. So that's great. Thank you guys for being on those commissions and agencies. That's really great. For the regular proposed consent agenda, we will have a 100th anniversary of Camp Eastman to be accepted by Bill L. or Boy Scouts. And got quite a few proclamations next week. Preservation Month, Historic Preservation Month. And also the Emergency Medical Services Week.
On the Preservation Month,
Yeah.
it'll be either Eric Tisland or
Okay.
Angela Andon, I think, accepting that.
Okay, great, thank you. And then for the Emergency Medical Services Week will be accepted by Nathan Toombs. All right, let's see where we're at. I will have a presentation, Dancourt Tennis Court updates.
So
And-
just a quick update
Yeah.
on that from Eric. Eric had a family engagement tonight, so he's not here. He said there will be a check presented to the city for the fence and ADA sidewalk upgrades at Dancourt for the tennis courts from the USTA, the Missouri Valley chapter. So there'll be a quick photo op as they present that check, probably to Eric and or Ryan
Awesome.
Monday.
Awesome, great to hear. And then we have a public hearing, consideration of fiscal year 2025, 2026 budget amendment number 1.
So in the packet was the notice of the public hearing that was published in the Hawkeye, that was published last Thursday. And then I also handed you out a sheet that's showing you the increases and the increases in revenues and increases in expenditures that I'm proposing for the amendment. I'll just quickly go through them. If anybody has any questions, you can interrupt me. License and permits, we're seeing more building permits come in this year, so we're going to increase that revenue. Nuisance collections are up. We also got some of the logging sales. That's a project that's been going on for quite a while, so we really don't even budget for that money anymore because we don't know when we're going to get it. So we did have some come in this year, so I'll budget for that. And then we're still earning good interest with the interest rates, so. And then on the expenditure side, a lot of these are just normal ones that we look at right now, how we're doing. Public safety for fire. We've had a little more training. Refunds are ambulance refunds, so that's really not an expense. I mean, it's an expense in our books, but not to the city. We're just refunding overpayments for ambulance. And then medical supplies. For police, overtime, which is as expected with the shortage of officers. We've had some building repairs. I know they had the elevator, I think was one of the largest repairs. And then the traffic safety equipment, that was a grant funded, but I do have to increase the expenditure side, even though we got the revenue on the other side. Building code, we've had a lot more expenses for the nuisances. Animal control, they've had some also building repairs and increase in janitor supplies. Public works, general, that's basically, they've also had some repairs on their building, also some consulting and equipment that we purchased. Culture and rec, port and auditorium, I think that's, we had awning and roof and.
AC units.
Oh, the AC units that went down, so some of those expenses that came through. That also includes the library boiler that was approved, but wasn't in the budget, and the bookmobile that got expensed this year. So again, that was not paid for by the city funds. It was a donation, but it was expensed through our books. General government, that's things that are kind of happening right here. City hall repairs. We had an insurance increase. Of course, we're not seeing that go down. So computer services and then refunds. Those refunds that go to the general government, those are for when people pay waterworks bills through us. They'll go online and they'll pay their water bill, and we need to get the money over to the waterworks. So we code them as refunds because we're writing the check back over to waterworks. So, and then debt service fees. I put that in because I was hopefully we might be bonding in May or June, but if we don't, we won't have those expenses. But just in case it does go through in June, I wanted to get some funds in there, so. Does anybody have any questions of the budget amendment?
Any questions? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for responding to my question, Stephanie.
All right. Next, we have a public hearing for consideration of sale of property locally known as 417 South Garfield Avenue, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. Are we gonna?
So I have a report here from Eric as well. The city recently rescinded the sale on this property a couple of meetings ago. So it's back in city ownership, but now we're going to put it back out for public bid. The original conditions apply to any new bidder planning to purchase and rehab the home, as noted in the notice and as usual and customary for the city. So, but those original conditions will be back on the table. There currently is one bid in the amount of $5,000 from Plowman Properties LLC for purchase and rehab of the home. So by next week, I guess we'll see if we get any additional. And then, of course, that's one of those auction situations, if anybody's here at the time that you take those bids during the public hearing. So.
Yep. All right, great. And I'm assuming the previous temporary owner will not be eligible?
Not eligible.
Great. Okay, public hearing for consideration of plans and specifications for the 2026 Burlington Fire Station number 3. I don't know if we're gonna talk about that at all, or wait.
I don't know, do you have an update? I just
No.
have a couple of comments, but.
No real update other than the bid packages, which there are 7, were released last week. We have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow scheduled here in the council chambers at 1:30, and that'll be facilitated by Canco. But no, those bid packages that have been released for the public consumption and out on the open market, they're out there for everybody to view, and that's, I suppose, what we'll be discussing next week.
All right, great, thank you.
Solicitation of bids has been adequately posted in the appropriate rooms in the Iowa League of Cities. And as Chief noted, there's a pre-bid meeting tomorrow for those that have interest but have questions, so.
All right, great. Any other comments or, okay. Number 6, we have a public hearing consideration of plans and specifications for the 2026 Seal Coat Streets project.
So we will, this is a map showing the planned fiscal year '26 Seal Coat project. Let me try and zoom in here. We have Burlington Avenue off of Agency Street. It's a Seal Coat road that saw a lot of traffic when Agency Street was being constructed. It's in pretty rough repair. And then we have, this is Maple and then May Street. May Avenue, I should say. Those 2 are on the list, and then we have a larger portion down off of south of Harrison, Hedge Dunham. It's kind of cleanup work from the sewer separation work that we were doing in that area. So we didn't get to accomplish the full roadway width as far as trying to make that all better. So this Seal Coat project will help improve some of those areas. So I have the plans here. Do not have an OPC on the cost of that. We have $400,000 budgeted out of road use tax funds to pay for it for fiscal year '26. I've asked that we stay underneath of that dollar figure, so we'll have to make any alterations should that change. So that's the plans for that. But you see 2 different labelings there. One is stabilization, so we'll go through in that section. We'll go through with what I call a rotomiller. We grind up and reestablish the base and then do a double seal coat on top of it. The lighter green color, which is just on Dunham Street, is only a double seal coat, so we'll leave the base material alone and just do a seal coat on top of it. So.
Nick, the one that's on Burlington, it's like that cul-de-sac or whatever. How are we gonna manage that so everybody can get in and out of there?
This?
Well, just like the whole area there, so when people are leaving, they're gonna have to run the loop and come around? Or is that one side gonna be completely blocked off all at once, or is everybody gonna have to take the same way out? in and out
So,
of the-
so seal coat is a little bit different than what you would see with concrete or asphalt. So when the operation comes in for the stabilization portion of it, we will ask that cars are not parked there. After that period of time, there will probably be a little bit where the vehicles can drive on it. And then they will tack it, they'll put tack material down. We've always found it best that the material sticks better when there's no traffic on it for 24 hours. Obviously, that's hard to enforce at times, especially when people live there. But for through traffic, we would probably close it down. And then once the top coating is put on there, cars can drive pretty immediately. So the downtime is going to be pretty minimal for seal coat type work. But obviously, when you get contractors in there, we know that people have to get in and out. So the traffic control is not something that I really have in front of me. Some of it's contractor dependent. They know they have to have traffic control done while it's doing the project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Number 7, we have a resolution approving memorandum of understanding between the City of Burlington and Kinetic Broadband for locating services.
Oh, didn't you skip Sunnyside?
What?
Or
No.
did you pull that one off and I have an old agenda?
The award of Sunnyside,
Yeah.
that is, the bid letting is actually next week.
Yeah. I must have an older copy, sorry.
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 I was like, I made a mistake. Okay, so anyway,
It had me panicked as well. Don't worry.
I don't know if we're talking about this at all, or
No, no, no.
good for now? Okay,
Nope, yep, move.
all right.
Disregard.
I mean, the broadband.
The broadband, the kinetic thing has been pulled for
Oh.
other circumstances.
So that won't be on the.
There are things going on in the background that I will not
Perfect.
privy the whole council
Don't
to.
need to know. Cross that one out. All right, and then for the proposed consent agenda, number 1 is a resolution approving purchase of type 1 ambulance for the Burlington Fire Department. Didn't know if we wanted to, if we're gonna talk about that at all, or if we already have. I mean, it's in our budget, I assume.
It's, yeah, sorry.
I'll just come and say it. It's okay.
That's great, thank you.
Thanks, chief.
So in your packet is a council item and resolution in preparation to purchase, or I should say order, what would be our 6th ambulance. We have 6 ambulances in our fleet. That's, at this time, that's all we plan on having. But this would be specifically the 6th Lifeline ambulance and also the 6th ambulance purchased through the HGAC state purchasing program and also through Lifeline. So this is a part of that purchase and then remount and replace program that you've heard us often come and talk about over several years now. One of the best programs I've ever seen with an ambulance. And also this, we're in the day and age now where we're purchasing these ambulances and they are everything that we need. They come fully supported and built and upfitted to today's needs. We're not retrofitting anything. They are the most advanced ambulances that you could get that technology can provide right now. So extremely happy. A couple things to note that's important with this specific ambulance is they are 24-month lead times. They are getting better, but still we're being told 24 months. So it's important to get ordered now. One pretty important thing is also that there is no actual purchase or check being dispersed until the date of delivery. So we're just ordering right now. We're signing the letter of intent and purchase, hopefully, with your approval, but there is actually no purchase until we bring the thing home from the factory. So can answer any more questions if you have them.
Which is 2 years from now.
And financially, we're paying for that with the 26, 27 bond, so, or 27, 28 bond technically, so.
Things are getting better. I really believe that. They were saying 24 months, but actually think of 30, but now they're saying 24 months, think of 20. So things are getting better with the regular truck chassis.
It's a long lead time, but get it in now and we'll hope that it comes quicker.
That's right. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll tell the next council to say yes.
You never know, and there's also cancellations in the line, so
Yeah, then you can get bumped up.
you could get stepped up. That's another reason as to hopefully get things approved now.
Yep.
Because you could be fast forwarded even more.
We've done this before,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming. Number 2 is a resolution authorizing fund transfers for fiscal year 2027.
So this is an annual resolution that I prepare after we approve the budget. These are basically just stating, letting you guys know exactly all the transfers that are gonna happen. This was a law that was passed, can't remember when. Doesn't say in my resolution, but I think we've been doing it for about 5-6 years. But it's to be more transparent, so everybody knows the transfers that are going in and out. So like I said, every one of these is in our budget already. It's just me recapping it in this schedule for you guys to approve, and if you have any questions on any of them.
Anybody have any questions, comments? I don't think so. Thank you very much for that. And then we have, oh gosh, where was I at? Okay. Number 3, resolution establishing solid waste fees effective July 1, 2026.
Sure, and this is the resolution that's approving the fees that are in the budget. We're having a 45-cent increase per cart effective July 1st, 2026. And basically, that's the only change.
Okay. Questions, comments? None?
I would like to see the increases be higher on the larger carts because I feel that the people who have the small carts are paying a higher proportion of the fees. I figured a 35-gallon cart pays about 47 cents a month per gallon, which is a dumb way to measure garbage, I think, but anyway. A 65-gallon cart pays substantially less in the 30s, and a 95-gallon cart pays even less, like 28 cents. And I would like to see some kind of equalization, if you will, of that. And if everyone were to pay at the same basis, the 65-gallon cart would cost $31 a month, and the 95-gallon cart would cost $45 per month. Because if you start with the $16.90 and then add for 30 more gallons and for 60 more gallons, that's the difference. And I think we're discouraging recycling. I think we're encouraging people to throw things away. And I'm not thinking of this as punitive, as of equalization. If someone with a 35-gallon cart is paying 47 cents a gallon, everyone should pay 47 cents a gallon.
Okay, I have a family of 5 with one of them in diapers, so I mean, like, I need that 95-gallon cart, but I think looking at it as a price per gallon is a little flawed. You're actually paying for the fact that they're coming to your house to pick it up, and
I understand.
that's the most part, the big part of the fee, and then the gallons is just, you know, a difference in size, but
Okay, so
But you're
then
gonna give-
everybody should be paying proportionally, I think.
I forget when we established this, maybe this can be another discussion at a later time, kind of the reasoning behind the fees, because I was a part of that, but I don't quite remember off the top of my head why we,
Well, since
Decided.
implementation, the fees have grown just incrementally based on the cost of living or an adjustment from the landfill for tipping fees.
Correct?
I wasn't here when they were established, and that's what
Right.
you're getting to.
Yeah.
But their increases have been tied to either cost of living or
Yeah.
landfill tipping fees. Ms. Kay is not wrong in terms of trying to incentivize recycling, but in my opinion, the inherent part of the program needs to be restructured in the recycling side of things, because that's not the most convenient system out there that we have right now. It's
Correct.
cumbersome as
It is
well,
cumbersome.
right? So,
I
It's not
certainly
single
agree
stream,
with
but-
that, and I wanted to bring it up because I feel like the incentive is still here to discourage the thing we want to try to work toward. And I feel like we need to, why add 45 cents per cart when the small cart already has the highest fee? And that's just,
well, per gallon, right? Per gallon.
yeah.
Could we,
And, you know, just to clarify my comment,
Yeah.
I think our recycling system today is efficient, but there are far more efficient systems out there. It's
And
pretty
we know
easy
that-
to just put things out on the curb in a green bin, and you put plastic here and tin here and paper here, and you're done. But, you know, maybe we've reached a plateau where we're only gonna get so many people. So if you wanna get to the next level, it might need to be something different. And I guess in my opinion, I don't know if that's a cost driver or a process driver.
Right, and I know that certainly the downtown recycling bin has been extremely popular for for cardboard at least, maybe not so much for cans and bottles.
The vast amount of volume that they get from the new bin downtown is cardboard. And I know Nick probably can share some experiences. A lot of what we see in trash collection is cardboard as well, because a lot of times it doesn't fit in the container. So they're bundling it or stacking it or putting tags on it or whatever, and it's like, again, it goes back to process.
yeah,
Part of this plan too was that we were seeing that the alleyways, and there's just trash everywhere, and everybody had their own can, and it was just, there was nothing uniform, and there was just a lot of litter. And I think what I remember from this project was that our goal was to clean up the streets and alleys, and I think that part has been a big success, because the neighborhoods do look cleaner. When I lived on the south side, I remember before it, you know, stuff was just up and down the alley all the time. And now that they have lids and they all are picked up the same way, I found that it's a lot cleaner than it was, so. But I see your point.
Also, just to make sure we know, of that $16.90, you're $4.55 of that you're paying for recycling.
Yes.
Then the rest is what-
Everyone pays,
Right.
whether they recycle or not.
And the rest pays for our operations.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. And then what we've been doing the last few years, we've just been, you know, doing a per cents per cart, but it's roughly about 3% is like what Chad said, that we've been trying to keep up with the expense increase in the operations, and it's been about 3%, so.
So my recommendation would be, if we want to make systemic changes to this, that the time to do it would be just ahead of our all-day budget work session. Maybe in a couple of work sessions prior to that, and then try to finalize some concept during that all-day budget work session as to the fee structure and that, because we do touch on this during that all-day work session. But we
I
just
would
kind of
like
look at
that.
rate changes and that's about it. But if there are systemic changes, that'll take some time. So
Yes.
we should set that up,
Everything takes time.
yeah. If the council's desire is to make some changes there.
certainly wouldn't hurt to talk about it in a way that, you know, if we decide that we can't come to an agreement, then we can obviously remove future discussions. But I think that'd be fine to at least put it on there as a discussion.
Okay. we'll work some things up.
The one
Thank you.
thing moving forward is the 35-gallon cans, just by an inventory note, people are moving away from having 35-gallon cans. We have made a policy decision to not issue new 35-gallon cans, but so they are slowly dwindling as far as an inventory out in the field. So that is probably a likely change moving forward that we'll look at. We'll just have two sizes that we essentially issue a price tag for. And the price per gallon is maybe a little bit difficult to understand when you consider the bulk of our expense for solid waste is staff and then equipment costs. And those are essentially needed for regardless of the can size that you have. The other pieces of that is we do a leaf pickup that everybody has access to. And so I wouldn't say that's a flat part of the fee that you're paying for your monthly service, but it's definitely, equal across 35, 65, or 95-gallon cans. So I would say that your dollar of per gallon fee goes down some when you remove some of the kind of flat costs that we have as a city to try and operate. And so, I could try and figure those out for you so you could better understand what that equal level is. But, in this discussion right now, I wouldn't be able to do
And
that.
I well know that the tipping fees are based on weight, not gallons, but because of the information we have, gallons was the only thing I had to go.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the industry standard. So when you buy a truck, we buy a 25-yard truck, which is volume, because you don't know the density of the volume of material you're picking up. So
Right.
your weight is always a tough thing, and that's how that they charge us at the landfill is by tonnage. And so, yes, volume and weight don't necessarily correlate.
I
If you have people that fill their 35-gallon cans with a bunch of heavy objects, they can essentially have the same tonnage as somebody that fills their 65 or 95 with a bunch of light objects. So, yeah, gallons is the volume in which we're charging people, but tonnage is the fee that we pay, so.
We'll set up some work sessions late summer
Yeah.
before budget to talk through it.
That'd be great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, I believe we are on number 4, resolution amending sewer user fees effective July 1, 2026.
Sure, this resolution is just updating the schedule for the 4% increase that was voted on when we approved the budget.
Any comments, questions? Great, all right, resolution amending stormwater utility system fees effective July 1, 2026 pursuant to chapter 100.7 of the Burlington City Code.
And this is the stormwater fee that residents are charged based on their equivalent residential unit, ERU, and that's increased by 4% too.
Great. Comments, questions? No?
These are all
Yeah.
generally cost of living
Right,
COLA
yeah.
adjustments, so.
Yep. All right, and number 6, we have resolution approving septic hauler fees effective July 1, 2026.
This again is a 4% increase. Did you have anything to add? No, it's
No,
the same
just,
resolution,
again,
just increased
call it, yep.
4%, so.
Great, any comments or questions from you guys? No, okay. Next, we have a resolution of support for transit program Kids Ride Free. Didn't know if we had any.
So this resolution has been something that I've done annually since I've been here. It started well before my time. But this is just a resolution of support from council to reinstitute the program for Kids Ride Free for the summer. So in the resolution, it starts June 1 through August 31st. Burlington school kids are in session when those dates begin and end, but from a function standpoint, it's just easier, cleaner to operate that way. In my memo, I did include kind of the ridership numbers of the kids that we're transporting. You see a fairly big spike in 21, kind of dwindles a little bit in 23, 24, but in 25 you saw kind of a re-engaging of that. I will say that the Kids Ride Free program is widely used for our camp kids to get to and from, and then while they're at that, they use it quite a bit to get around town. Last year, we instituted because the pool wasn't open, kind of a fixed route system that didn't work the greatest. This year, we're going to try and attempt to do more call-based, try and get some publication out in front of folks so they can establish a ride for their kids to get them to West Burlington Pool or Fun City area. So I think it's a good program. It definitely helps some of our other services in the city to get kids around town. So
It's a great program. Any other comments, questions? Okay, and then we also have a set date for public hearing, June 1st. It would be the consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 65.05 of Burlington, Iowa Code of Ordinances concerning impoundment of animals running at large, abused, or neglected.
So this ordinance, excuse me, and on June 1st, we can go into it in more detail during the public hearing, but as we work through the animal control issues and situations that we have, and council knows that I'm working with the Des Moines County Humane Society on some of these issues up to and including transition of the facility. But one of the things that came out of that discussion is, what do we do with folks that don't claim their animal or something like that? And so we've come up with this ordinance amendment and working with our city attorney, who incidentally is also the city attorney for the city of West Burlington. And so West Burlington will be considering this ordinance at the same time and at the same level, so that we have consistent policy and policy enforcement across both communities. But basically, the change is that any animal owner who causes the necessary and legal boarding of an animal at public expense due to permitting the animal to run at large or due to proven abuse or neglect of said animal commits a municipal infraction. And then it sets the fee for that municipal infraction at $50 per day the animal is boarded at public expense. So this will give us a clear, defined enforcement for some of those that were otherwise not caught in the system. So.
Great. Look forward to more discussion on that. Future discussion items, we have Cascade Bridge, Nick McGregor, May 26th. Assuming we're not going to touch on these. Number 2 is South 14th Street, also Nick McGregor, May 26th. And number 3 will be the mural on the wall of the 400 block of Jefferson Street by Amy Moyner, and that will be June 29th. Those are, again, future discussion items. Okay. Nothing else on the work session agenda, so I suppose we should go around the horn and, oh, you're first.
I am first. So a couple things of note. The river has come down quite a bit. We've gotten the south docks reinstalled. We plan to get the north docks installed here. The splash pad will come online here Friday. So that will be operational. And the intersection here at 5th and Washington, I don't want to jinx us, but should be opened here come Monday or so. So that's my update.
Back room, got anything from wastewater? Nothing? Brittany from the library. I love your sweater.
It's pretty quiet back there.
The bees.
The Burlington Public Library is the official repository for the Environmental Protection Agency when they send out public documents, and we've received the emergency permit for the storage of lead azide. Is that how you say it? This is AZIDE. This is related to the recent closure azide out at the Army Ammunitions Plant in Middletown. So if you are curious to read about the emergency permit from the EPA, that will be available at the help desk for in-house viewing only at the library for the next 30 days. Tonight, the lights will be out on the Great River Bridge because we will have 385 million birds migrating north, and this is part of a corridor of cities along the Mississippi who, in partnership with Birdcast and Cornell University, will dim or put out their lights during these peak migration days to help assist with these Feathered Friends moving north. So tonight, lights out. If you have lights on your houses or your properties, if you want to dim those or turn those out, that'll help with the birds' migration.
Will the steeple lights be out as well?
I do not believe so. I don't think so.
I think they are dimming everything as part of the Lightscape project, so steeple.
Okay, well, that's great.
Oh.
Snake
They'll be at
Alley,
least dimming them.
yeah, and the bridge, I think so.
Do we have any sort of like, little like screen snip of something that, because I know people are gonna be like, why are the lights out? And it'd be great just to post like a PDF of something.
We
Can
can
ask
do
Amy.
that.
I don't,
Amy Moyner posted last year, so I can
Okay.
ask her to post something that the city maybe can repost,
Yeah.
or that you can
Yeah.
share
Whoever,
out. But
yeah.
it's the
Just, you know.
Birdcast, they have a great graphic for what tonight's migration projections are.
All
You
right.
go to Birdcast with Cornell University.
Someone asked me about this last week, if we were turning the lights out.
Nice.
And I said, well, I know we did in the fall, so I'm glad to hear this.
There was a peak, we had a high migration night last week, and we didn't get word of it until the committee wasn't able to come together to make a consensus decision. So tonight, hopefully, we've gotten to them ahead of time enough that we can get those lights turned out. So turn your lights out at home and help the effort, please. This Friday and Saturday and next Monday is the next Friends book sale. If you're looking for books, they will be bringing 10,000 books up to sell, and all profits come back to the library to help support and pay for all of our programming, so that everything that we are hosting for the public is free to attend. As a reminder, candidate forums start tonight. Just a minute ago, the first one started at the library. And this Friday, the library will be joining the school district with their annual Walk to Fight Suicide, which will start at 1 o'clock at Bracewell Stadium, and they'll walk down Jefferson Street, I believe. So lots going on at the library. But if you want to see that EPA record, you've got 30 days to view it in the library only. Thank you.
okay, great, thank you. Nothing there. Police department, nothing? Fire department?
I sent you all an email, friendly email, but it's also worth mentioning here too, about a little event that, in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and the Fire Department, we're hosting this Thursday at the fire station. We're calling it a ribbon cutting event to open our gym, which was remodeled by our new construction VHS class.
Nice.
It's been a little under a year of their project, but we want to reward those students and their effort and their program. So just a simple invitation, and that's where we'll be at the fire station, 9 a.m. on Thursday.
All right, great, thank you for that.
Nice.
Chad?
A couple of things, again, from Eric. Parks Department notes, Kids to Parks Day is Saturday, May 16. National Day of Outdoor Play celebrated on the third Saturday of May to encourage families to explore local, state, and national parks. We encourage residents to explore all the wonderful parks in our community, Saturday. And then I have two announcements here, actually, I think they're both from Zion Church. There's a mental health wellness day on Saturday on Jefferson Street between 3rd and 5th Streets from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So mental health awareness, there's screenings and some other things going on, so I'll pass that around. And then they are also hosting on Saturday at 1 o'clock, a Blessing of the Pets in Nancy Nafee Park. So if you are so inclined to visit those, there you go. And then there is one other item that we need to add to the agenda for Monday, I think, and I think it's in the works. And we have an application for workforce housing from a local developer. He's working on a workforce housing grant application through Iowa Department of Economic Development. And that's in the works now, so it didn't make this agenda for discussion, but it's just an application of support. So the developer can submit the application to workforce housing. I think it's due by the end of the month. So next Monday's meeting will be the last meeting, so I think that's coming. And then a reminder that May 14th on Thursday at 6 o'clock is our joint council meeting with Burlington, West Burlington. And that'll be at SEC in the conference room. More information on that. 6 o'clock on Thursday
Over there
at SEC.
at SEC.
I'll get you details. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Oh,
Yes, RF extension. Yeah, so there was some late traffic this afternoon. We'll have another addition to the council meeting. We have an SRF loan for the Mississippi Interceptor. So the deadline that it expires is June 23rd. And so our bond counsel sent some documentation today to extend the deadline from June 23rd by 3 years. So
Is that just a simple resolution to extend
it
the
is,
deadline?
yep, no public hearing or nothing, just a resolution.
All right.
Did you say May 14th? Because Wednesday's the 13th.
Thursday, the 14th.
Oh, you said Thursday, 14th. I
Right.
wrote Wednesday down for some reason. So confused.
Do you have anything else?
No, not really. School's almost over, and you know the weather's getting nice, so people are out. And I drive professionally. I'm a delivery driver, and I see all the people that blow through stoplights and stop signs or drive too fast, or people that are walking and not looking where they're going. So just be mindful that there are other people out there in the world that you don't want to collide with, and let's keep everybody safe.
All right, great. Kay, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Tim?
Nothing more.
Tonight? I just wanted to remind you guys that May 13th is the city council talk, second Wednesday. This time, it's going to be you and Robert?
Yep.
Yep,
We got this.
you got it?
9 a.m.
Awesome, perfect.
We're gonna talk about Ragbide the whole time.
And maybe some Cascade Bridge?
We'll sprinkle it in there.
All right.
Maybe.
Sounds good. Okay, with that being said.